Good morning. Here's your Newsroom Morning Brief for today, Wednesday, August 20th, 2025. The Ghana Elections Commission last night announced a ban on the use of cell phones inside polling stations for the September 1, 2025 general and regional elections, saying the move is a safeguard to protect the secrecy of the ballot and to crack down on vote selling. Vincent Alexander, the opposition-nominated commissioner who represents a Partnership for National Unity, APNU, had been pushing heavily for this. In a statement last night, GCOM announced that the decision forms part of a comprehensive set of new measures aimed at preserving the integrity of the voting process. The Commission pointed to concerns about photographing of ballots as a means of facilitating vote selling, which is an illegal practice. To enforce the ban, GCOM has outlined several procedures. 1. Clear notices will be posted outside and inside every polling station explicitly stating that cell phone use is prohibited. 2. Announcements will be made throughout polling day reminding voters to switch off their phones before entering. 3. Before a ballot is issued, polling officials will instruct voters to turn off and set aside their phones on a designated desk or table next to the voting compartments. 4. The voter's ID card, passport, or driver's license will be temporarily held by the presiding officer and only returned after the vote is cast. 5. Voting compartments will be positioned to allow staff and party agents to observe if voters attempt to use their phones while still respecting privacy. GCOM also said any attempt to photograph a ballot will trigger an alarm by polling staff or agents, and the incident will be immediately reported to the Ghana Police Force. Next, we tell you that the Carter Centre's Limited Election Observation Mission has urged the Ghana Elections Commission to immediately publish detailed tabulation procedures and step up its communication with the public, warning that information gaps could weaken confidence in the integrity of the upcoming elections. The mission also called on all political parties to sign and uphold the Ethnic Relations Commission's Code of Conduct, noting with concern that APNU and the Forward Guyana movement have failed to do so. The code commits parties to avoid hate speech, inflammatory rhetoric, and ethnically divisive campaigning. There were several other points raised by the Carter Centre. For one, it said that reports were received about intimidation affecting public workers and business owners, including instances where employees were transferred after encounters with opposition candidates. It also cited concerns raised by the Ghana Press Association over attempts by both government and opposition figures to censor or intimidate journalists. The mission also stated that there are multiple allegations of misuse of state resources and the state media output appears skewed in favor of the ruling party with limited or no coverage of opposition events. The Carter Centre also flagged the banking sector's response to U.S. sanctions imposed in 2024 on WIN candidate Asreen Mohammed, his father Nazar Mohammed, and several businesses and senior government official May Thomas. Since WIN's list was approved in July, 3 local banks have closed accounts belonging to about 40 WIN candidates, members, and associates. Some candidates were reportedly dismissed by employees for joining the ticket. The Carter Centre warned that such de-risking goes beyond what financial regulations and guidelines require, stressing that sanctions risk arises from prohibited financial transactions, not mere political association. It said blanket account closures undermine democratic rights and electoral integrity by deterring citizens from political participation. General Secretary of the governing People's Progressive Party, Civic Ghana's Vice President Dr. Barrett Jagdeo, welcomed the Carter Centre's report and said 2 findings in particular were important for the public record: that the Carter Centre did not find evidence of a padded voters list despite long-standing claims from the opposition APNU and others, and that the campaign. At the same time, Jagdeo argued that at a cursory view, glaring omissions made parts of the document appear to rely on allegations rather than verifiable facts. He said several incidents widely reported in the public domain and involving the WIN party were not reflected. Those incidents include a video of a candidate threatening to kill Education Minister Priya Manikchand and Party Representative Bradley Doggy Sampson seen assaulting a woman who was seeking payment for attending a meeting. On the Carter Centre's comments on U.S. sanctions against Mohammed and associates, Jagdeo said the report minimized their impact and it was strange for an observer group, having himself headed an observer group to Sri Lanka on behalf of the Commonwealth, to advise local banks not to de-risk. This, he reminded, is a widespread routine occurrence with U.S. banks, and several Caribbean banks lost their correspondent banking relations in the past due to de-risking by U.S. banks. 6 parties are approved to contest the elections, with 2,790 polling stations planned across 1,128 polling stations. Over 11,700 polling staff have been identified and will undergo refresher training. Ballots printed in Canada have already arrived in country. Finally, the Alliance for Change, led by attorney Nigel Hughes, yesterday released its health policy ahead of the upcoming elections. The party says its vision is to build a universal, people-centered, rights-based, and digitally connected health system that offers equitable access to preventative, curative, rehabilitative, and palliative care for every person in Ghana, regardless of geography, income, or social status. Among the party's plans to achieve this vision are promises for free access to primary health care everywhere, free community health screenings, a national vaccination and immunization program, a school health program, and a huge focus on mental health. The AFC also said it will immediately recruit 1,000 nurses, doctors, and allied health professionals. To do so, the AFC vows to incentivize the diaspora and Commonwealth professionals to return or to serve via exchange programs. It also promises to increase pay, housing, hardship allowances, and continuing education for health professionals. That's your Newsroom Morning Brief. You can find these and other stories at our website, newsroom.gy, and across our social media pages, Newsroom Guyana. I'm Vishani. Thank you for joining.